Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I look in the mirror and I see a ghost. I know I'm not holy, but I know the most. The most high guy, him, he deserve a toast. I can never brag or boast. Without him, where would I be?
Assalamu alaikum, family. Ramadan Mubarak. How is everyone this morning? Welcome. What y'all sipping on? I've been up. I made me some good old homemade chai. I love me a good chai. And I wanted to say too, shout out to Sister Nisa Islam for the Ramadan prayer line, which is so beautiful, and her tenacity and her stick to itiveness, consistency. I just want to give um, a really big virtual hug to the sister and thank her. I actually saw her during Savior's Day and didn't get a chance to say that to her. So I'm just putting it out there in the universe, and hopefully she picks up those good vibes. So mom says she's sipping on coffee. What the rest of y'all got? We got a little time before daylight, so we get to fast, which is a beautiful thing. So welcome everyone. Happy Saturday, mother. I see you, Brother Lamont. Good morning. Walaikum salam. Ramadan Kareem. A woman's strength. Walaikum salam. Ramadan Mubarak. Brother Stanley. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, welcome. And Eloso official channel. Peace and love. Oh, Brother Carlos from Detroit. Praise be to Allah. I saw somebody else in here. Some of these things go fast. Okay. So how many people tuned in Thursday when we talked about elevated places and how as entrepreneurs, it's important that we take time to stop and not only spiritually reflect, but we should be drawing our strength as entrepreneurs from Allah God. It really is time for us to usher in a new way of doing business. I've been out here in business for a long time, and let me tell you, some of these people are so mean. Brother Stanley said water and headed to the gym. Okay, some of these people are so mean and cutthroat, and it's just all about the money and whatever they can do. And the crazy thing is, a lot of times, even with people from, you never know somebody, let me put it this way, until you do business with them. And so sometimes you meet people from your own community and you see just the predatory stuff come out. Sometimes you work with people from the broader community and you see just the racism come out. And it is just really, really time for us to move into a new era. Let's stop supporting people who don't support us. Let's stop giving our money to people who really don't care anything about us. There's so much business interruptions happening. So much of it. And so I just think that we have to really move in another direction, and those of us that are in business, we have to try to bring in some consciousness, bring in some spirituality, not and really try to get ourselves away from predatorial behavior. Great morning, Sister Betty. Brother Lamont, okay, he's on the East Coast. He said no time left. I think he did orange juice, coffee, and water, of course. Okay. Yeah, you guys on the East Coast, we got a little time over here. It's only 6:09 over here in Chicago, so we got a little more time. But I just really want to emphasize that. Brother Lamont said, I deal with that a lot, but we have to circumvent that kind of negativity. We really do. And we have to protect ourselves. There are prayers that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us so that we can use that to protect ourselves from going down the wrong path, from falling victim to being in debt and people treating us a certain way. Because in this country, it's a crime not to have any money. I mean, the way you're treated and the way you're handled is absolutely unfathomable. And as we usher in this new era of business, this new era of economic development, which I believe is our next phase of development as Black people, we have to make sure that we don't bring those old business models, because those old business models have an interdependency on predatory and victimizing other people. Um, so sorry, you guys. My look like the little pepper in my chai is bringing up something. So if I wanted to do a little Q&A today, so if you all have any questions or anything you want to discuss, anything on your heart, on your mind, let's see if we can have a conversation about it. Let me know. I love doing this, just kind of taking what's in your spirit, what you're feeling. Tell me what you've been dealing with this week, and let's talk about it. Tell me what you're anticipating facing next week, and let's have a conversation about it. Because part of being a community is being able to talk through these things. One of the things that I'm really learning is the value of uniting and talking and pooling your resources. I'm working on a healthcare task force, and there's some injustices that are taking place against Black doctors and Black independent healthcare facility owners. And when we got on a call yesterday and started talking, it was amazing how many people had the same stories, the same scenarios. And the thing that stood out to me is that this enemy anticipates that, one, we're not going to talk to each other, because they don't even change the blueprint. They just go around and do the same thing to each and every one of us. Don't even change the blueprint. So that's the first thing. The second thing, they anticipate and understand how our ego and insecurities work, because we judge each other, right? And if somebody needs help or somebody reaches out, we look at that as a sign of weakness, and they know that. And so they trap us in these emotional vacuums, and we suffer in silence because we don't want to tell anybody, because we don't want to be judged. And as I'm sitting here on this call, listening to these Black healthcare professionals talk about what they're going through in trying to provide these services to their community, the synergies and the game plan just unfolded as if somebody just laid it out in front of me. I was just floored at how this enemy could do the same thing to each person. Some of it I experienced myself when I was an owner of a healthcare facility and a wellness facility. I experienced it myself, but we don't talk about it. We don't have an outlet where we just sit down and share. And maybe we overcome it. Maybe we're winning. Every time we had an attack, my business partner and I would say, all right, it's Operation Django Freeman. And we would name them Django Freeman number 1, 2, 3, But when I thought about it, I said, had we had some kind of round table, dinners, social or fraternal organization among ourselves where we could talk and share experiences, we would see the synergies and be able to circumvent it. But and so one of the things that I want to do with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum is create a space where not only do we come and learn from the lessons of history and learn from the life of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what he went through and overcame. And again, just studying that history, but also a space where we can talk and discuss. And I want to do more think tanks and more teas and more things like that, where we start to have these types of conversations, because there may be something that I've gone through that I can prevent you from going through. We have to get out of the mindset like, well, I went through it, they got to go through it. This is how we're going to accelerate this next phase of our, development. We just have to stop being so selfish. And so I just wanted to share that. And it inspired me to say today, if you have anything you want to talk about in the chat, any discussion, anything you're thinking about. And sometimes I'll say this too. We don't understand the value of just having a partner that you can go through these things with, or that you can share these experiences with, or that who can motivate you when you're going through this stuff. Because when you're successful, every day is always something. Many of you, you may talk to me on the phone. I be done just went through something. Every day is always something. And, and so we have to find these, I call them circles of comfort, where we can share and have these conversations. And if nothing else, we just laugh about it while we're strategizing our way. And what that'll do is it'll prevent us from operating from that sunken place that we talked about on Thursday. So put your the questions in the chat. I'm going to go refill up on tea, because by the time we finish, I won't be able to drink anything. So I'm going to show a quick commercial. Get your questions together and put them in the chat, and I'll be right back in 1 or 2 minutes.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
All right, I'm back. I got a refill on my tea. I'm ready to go. I just want to make sure I'm hydrated before the sun comes up. I was talking before I went to get some more tea about how important it is to be able to have those, well, let me say it this way, how important it is for us in business to not operate in silos. And one of the things I will definitely say that I've learned from the broader community is that most of the time their entrepreneurs go through stuff, and they do have access to credit and money and things like that on a much easier basis than we do. They have family members that can loan them money, and they can get, you hear them saying, oh, I raised, $200,000 from among my family members. We don't have that. So there's definitely that disadvantage, but they also have each other, and they share best practices. And so I was talking about how important it is, even if you just get together and you pray together and you say, you know what, I'm facing something. I want to talk about it. Let's pray. You would be surprised at how much further along that takes you. Instead of our conversations always being about trivial things, and some of us just spend so much time on trivial stuff. Let's go a little deeper. Sometimes I see people going through things, whether they're guilty or not, and I say, man, I wish I knew them. I was looking at our sister Fonnie Willis in Atlanta, and I said, I wish I knew her. Wish I knew her. I wish she was my sister or my friend, and I could pull her over here and say, girl, listen, here we go. This what you do. I just, and I just see that all the time. And I say, I wish I knew them to support them better. I was watching Shannon Sharp talking about what he's going through. And I said, I wish I knew that brother, to share some words that came to me. Oftentimes I'll see something and Allah will give me a message for that person, but I may not know the person, so I can't give it to them. I remember our beloved brother Abdul, who's been fighting the Chicago public school system. When I first saw him and what he was going through, I prayed for him. I had met his wife because she had come to tour Sajdah house, but I didn't know him. And so I prayed for him, and Allah gave me a message to him. And I was blessed this past Sunday at the founders dinner at Crow to be able to give it to him. I just think that we just need more of that. We need to know, as we're going through stuff, that we're not alone, that somebody supports us, that somebody sees us. And so a lot of times we don't have money to give. We may be deficient in that way, but the words of support are powerful. Brother Lamont, you made a very beautiful point. Having a partner is a must to share your dilemmas with. A non-judgmental and objective partner is needed in this hostile business environment. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And Brother Stanley says, we definitely need more Black think tanks. Yeah. And I would even encourage, I know for me as a person that's single, I like the idea of course, dating for a purpose, but being in a relationship with somebody that understands the business side and the business dilemmas. I think so many times we choose, business partners or relationship partners or friends who are so far removed from what we're going through. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that can have its advantage, but it puts us in a situation where, as we're warring against the powers that be, because really we're at war. And if you understand that we as a people are at war, then I think we will pick our mates, our business partners, our friends with that understanding. Either somebody that can give you some relief from the war, or somebody that can support you through the war, or somebody that is fighting with you, understanding that synergy, not that synergy, but understanding that central point that we are at war is very, very critical. Some people say, well, when I don't want to have those conversations. I just don't see how you don't, because you're going to be impacted by what you're going through. You're going to be impacted by all the the attacks against you and all the things that people are doing, because what we're trying to do and what we are doing is so very important. I don't know if you all realize how important it really is. It is so important that for centuries we have been blocked from economic development. And right after slavery, when we went into Reconstruction and we started to open businesses, we started to do for self, we started to just build out our own world, it's literally like the entire country came out against us. And some people would say, no, that was a few militia people who burned down certain towns. But no, it was a systemic effort, because while those militia groups may have destroyed our businesses, there were other groups that wrote those brothers and sisters out of history. There were other groups who refused to, after they stole from us, to allow us to even inherit. Most of us as Black people have stories of land that our family had down south that was stolen or taken. So even taking away the inheritance. So it was a systemic effort. And, I can't help but really continue to push to us that what we're doing is disruptive. It's changing the course of history. We have every right to get up and do something for ourselves. We have every right to be able to earn a living, a decent living, doing for ourselves. We have every right to that. We should not be disrupted. We should not be interrupted. We should not be attacked. We should not be demonized if we fall short or we make a mistake. We deserve to do for self. So what are the systemic efforts? What's the goal of this systemic effort to stop us from having our own stuff? Is it to kill us and exterminate us? Is it to just say, no, y'all gonna forever work for us? And the way this system works, this system was built on the dependency of you all. And I'm like, get somebody else to do it, because it's time out. It's time to leave us alone. Even if you don't give us nothing, just leave us alone. Let us fairly compete in the world of business and just leave us alone. We'd probably be a lot further along if you just left us alone, because we deserve it. And I want to say to us as a people, our people, when we see somebody in business, support them. When you see somebody striving to do something, support those efforts, because they may one day employ your children. One thing I think is a shame, those of us as Christians, as Muslims, whatever, Jewish people, we raise our children and we dedicate a lot of money in their educational process. We spend money on private schools. We spend a grip on extracurricular activities like AAU, this and that, and all these different things that they're doing in an effort to try to raise them in a certain way. And then, because we don't have no businesses for ourselves, what do? We got to send them out into a world where they're working with grown people who are preying upon them, where they're working with grown people and learning bad habits in the workplace. And so all that we've spent their lifetime trying to instill in them gets reversed in a matter of a couple months. This is why other cultures are able to maintain their morality and their cultural influence. Why? Because when they send their children out into the world, they're going out into the world armed with the right information, but into their own businesses. You can't tell me that it makes sense that our young brothers and sisters, even if they go and get a part-time job in high school, you sending them to work at McDonald's, Burger King, the local store down the street, and there's some predator there waiting to sexually harass them, waiting to show them how to steal, waiting to introduce them to the unfairness of the world so they start to become unfair themselves. Little things like sending them to work for grown people and the people steal time. They're thieves. They steal from the company. We send our children out into these influences. So it's important that we support that brother or sister that has a business, because your child might be able to intern there. Your child might be able to get a part-time job there so they can begin to learn work ethic and to manage their money. And then they go to college. And most of us that's been to college can only tell you all the stuff that goes down on college campuses. Listen, if you got your degree remotely or as an adult, that's a different blessing. Because when you get out here and you get on these college campuses and the things that you got to fight off in order to keep your own personal integrity, most adults couldn't even fathom it. So we think, oh, my child got a degree. They're going to be a doctor. They're going to be this. They're going to be that. They get turned out in college. Turned out sexually, turned out morally. The behaviors. What happened to the good experience where you go and you learn from other people who are kind of experiencing the same thing as you? Sometimes they come home and you don't even know who they are. And then if they make it through that process, they go out into the world and they get a job. And again, it's more reinforcement of bad behaviors, of bad business, of predatory capitalism. We gotta stop this cycle. So when our children graduate, when they need an internship, when they need something, we can say, call so-and-so, they'll give you an internship. Call so-and-so, you can work over there. You can shadow an architect, you can shadow a doctor. But I guarantee you, if your child just graduated and they out there working, they're being flipped. You just may not know it. And if you're a strong parent, they may have the ability to kind of hide it from you because they can keep that same exterior, but somebody working on them. Somebody's working on them to have influence over them. And if we're not careful, they will win. So we got to stop this cycle of, because what happens is once they get out in the world, they're going to go through some stuff. And then they got to spend 10 years going through a bunch of stuff. And hopefully they come back and they haven't damaged their lives too bad. A lot of us don't realize that what you do in your 20s and how you dedicate your 20s dictates much of how the rest of your life is going to go. Are you going to spend time catching up? Are you set up in the right way? It really just depends. So it's time to reverse that cycle. It's time to send our children out into a world that we have a little bit more control over. Because it's like we're rolling the dice. We're playing Russian roulette, rolling the dice. Send your child out there. You just hope they come back in the right way. And it's not good. Some of them come back, they're depressed. How many really beautiful, strong, intelligent children do we know that we sent them to college, whether it's an HBCU or not, and they come back and they're depressed, they're suicidal, they have identified now differently. You don't even know who they are anymore. This is what's one of the things that's causing the slowdown in our rise and development as a people. This is one of the things that's causing that. And we look and say, man, I remember when so and so was so smart. I just really thought. And even if they get through and go and become a doctor, architect, engineer, or whatever, they've been turned out. So I think by us coming together, I think there's enough of us in business. There's enough of us that are successful. There's enough of us that have resources and opportunities that if we begin to talk, have these social kind of interactions, we can find outlets for our children and our young people and even ourselves. Many people get let go, they get fired, they get laid off, and it's unfair. Sometimes it's fair. Sometimes we just violate rules that don't make sense. Whatever it is, um, you know, sometimes we need a group that we can go to say, you know what, I'm gonna need a job. I'm gonna need a contract. I'm gonna need somebody to put me in front of some checks because this is what I'm going through. This is what my white counterparts go through. The ones that I know, they say, oh, you know what, I know somebody that where I can get a job. I know somebody where I can go get some money. I know somebody where I can get a referral. And believe it or not, 9 times out of 10, we smarter than they are. And that's not a racist statement. Why is that true? It's because of what we've been through. See, anytime you got to scrape and crawl and go through so much just to do something basic, like let's say sell real estate, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to know more than somebody from the broader community that just really just decided that that's what they wanted to do. They took the test, got their license, they graduated, and their family and friends started sending them business. Not us. We got to knock. We got to go door to door. We got to call people. We got to come up with all kind of ways in which we can get customers and all of that stuff. It's a major thing. And we've mastered being creative in these fields of endeavors. So that in essence makes us smarter in those areas. Some people would say, well, yeah, we're smarter, but we lack access and opportunities. Yes, but that's not 100% it. We lack unity and the pooling of our resources. So if we got together and supported one another more and say, you know what, I want to buy a house, let me make sure I get a Black realtor. And then that Black realtor's saying, okay, I can help sell your house, and you go in and do a good job. You'd be surprised at how we can start turning this thing around just by pooling our resources and uniting with one another and stop criticizing one another, being there for one another. That's why it's so important to me. If you all know me, if anybody in this chat knows me, if there's anything I could do for somebody when it comes to business, I'm always trying to figure out how to look out, who I can refer for this or that, how I can support and help, what I can do to help somebody get to that next level or in front of checks or get them what they need. I don't like seeing people going through where they're trying to get something off the ground and they just can't get it done. We like to create all this motivational stuff and be like, well, it's the struggle, you got to go through it and all of that. Some of that stuff is unnecessary. Because if you got a sister or a brother who knows somebody, why not be offered that route? Why not that? Why you got to struggle? Yeah, there's some struggle that you're going to have to go through. There's some struggle that's ordained, but some of it's unnecessary. And it's all because we don't love each other. We don't pool our resources. We don't unite. And a lot of us are suffering in silence and we're in our silos. But we got to support. We got to hook each other up. All of us need to be like the Godfather, the late, great Clarence Avant, where we're just pulling people together. We're just orchestrating, putting people together. That's what I do. I spend a significant amount of time of my day going, oh, okay, let me see let me get you some names. Let me get you a phone number. Let me do a quick 3-way with you. Now y'all talk, y'all go ahead. Let me connect. And you'd be surprised at what comes out of those connections. You really would be surprised. Okay, I see y'all in the chat. Let's see. Sister Jamila Peters says, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sajdah, friends and family. Sister Sajdah, did you call me in Fort Lauderdale? No, I didn't call you, sis. Hopefully nobody impersonating me called you. That does happen. Got all these fake people out here. Sister Aletha is wishing everyone blessings and Ramadan Mubarak. We got Regional Sky Girl who just joined us. We got a couple minutes for questions. If you have any questions or comments or anything you want to talk about. What we're talking about today is creating a community so that we support each other better in not only just our business endeavors, but just in life in general. And, so we kind of stop the competition and, because really, to be honest with you, there's nothing you can do about anything that's for anybody. You can't stop me from getting what's mine. You may be able to put a few roadblocks in the way, but God will just remove them and remove you if you get in the way too tough. Same thing. I can't stop you. What's for you is for you. What's for me is for me. And ain't nothing you can do about it. So why waste the time deciding that you're going to hate on somebody, deciding you're going to block somebody's blessing? Because all you're going to do is kill yourself, kill your own dreams, kill your own connection with God. So anyway, welcome, sis. As I was saying, any questions, put them in the chat. Okay. Let's see. I see Brother Victor has joined us. And let's see. Okay. I think I got through y'all's comments. Hit that super chat button at the bottom. Make sure you support. The Cash App is going across the screen. Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. Support the channel, the network, what I'm doing. Hit that super chat. I really, really appreciate it. How we gonna get there if we don't support one another? It's like we just kind of expect, I guess, if a person ain't singing and dancing and playing a sport, we just kind of expect that if they get something, they just gonna show up with it. They just gonna show up with the money. For me, I have worked extremely hard my entire life. Extremely hard. Like, so hard in a way for so long that you probably wouldn't even believe it. So when, I get people who come up and they talk a little smack. I had a couple comments last Sunday when I was at the dinner of people kind of talking smack, like, oh, the sister who put $5 million into the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's house, and and they expect, and then they turn around and ask me like for another 20,000 or whatever, and I laugh because I said, man, these are people who don't understand the flow of the universe, and I have no doubt that my efforts are going to be multiplied in probably 10x. If that. That's just how much faith I have in God. I know that it's going to be so amazing that it's going to probably shock people. And that's okay, because I want to shock you. I want you to be surprised. But understand that it's a lot of hard work. And I wanted to name the project Sajdah House because when people would ask me, like, how'd you get this opportunity? How'd you get here? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? And I said, it was prayer. It really, really was and is prayer. And me working my whole backside off and getting on my knees and praying. That's been it. I've had people say to me, you'd be a lot further ahead if you just go deal with so and so, or go mess around with this man, or go do this or that. And I've been blessed that I just have not had to do that, and I've not had to do that in order to gain success in my life, and I'm grateful for that. So, and I want to see more of our young entrepreneurs to have that road. What I would like to alleviate from them is them having to have worked as hard as I have. Um, but I definitely don't want to see them to have to go and sell their soul or do something crazy. And it's taken longer because I'm not selling my soul. And I know oftentimes that's not rewarded, but my reward is with Allah. So, and that's what I'm grateful for. That I'm so grateful that at a young age I was able to see that and take that road. I made my share of mistakes, but I never took the road of I'm going to go do something really soulless in order to get money or chasing success. And so I'm grateful for that. And I know that that's nothing but Allah's blessed hand on me. I'm blessed to grow up through the 80s and live through the 90s and not have ever been on crack cocaine. And no shade against nobody that has, but there's so many of our people that have fallen victim to drugs. I never had to get on the stripper pole. I never had to get on my back and do unsavory things, or on my knees and do unsavory things in order to get success. And we live in a world where women, men are bombarded with that. You see what's going on in the entertainment industry. Every time you look up, somebody had to give up a part of their soul to get a role or to make a certain amount of money. And I'm forever grateful to Almighty God Allah that He did not see fit that was my trial. I didn't have to do that. I just had to work. I just had to work and be smart and think. And He kept His hand on me. So I'm just grateful for that. And so because of that, that is why I like to share whatever information that I can with you. I like to have whatever conversations I can to help support each and every one of you, because I've been blessed in such a tremendous way. And He just continues to help me navigate stuff. He'll show me something. I'll see like a red light and He'll go, this way you go this way, or a warning light or whatever. And He's just guiding me. And so I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Okay, we got a few minutes. Let me try to get this tea down. I'm just running my mouth. Put some questions in the chat, hit the super chat, go to the Cash App. But I need to, I should have put a guest on today so I can get my tea down. Brother Stanley said, I trace my ancestry back to the Fula, Kru, and Timne and Mende people. The commonality I see is the secret society process they use to develop their children. Good teaching. Yeah. Interesting. Fula. So yeah, Fulani. I'm Fulani. I remember we went to Africa. The Kru tribe is an interesting tribe. My business partner in DC is, I think on his dad's side, he's Kru. And I forget what else he was, but the Kru tribe is an interesting one. I don't know much about the Timne and Mende people. But yeah, the way the children are raised is very, very, very important. I know Fulani people who have asked me and actually paid me to teach their children, teach their daughters and girls. And so they're in Africa, and we've literally done like video chats where I've mentored and taught and trained their daughters. I've been blessed with a certain angle in the way that I'm able to approach things because of the trajectory of my life and the way Allah has carried me through. And I don't want anybody to take what I'm saying as shade, because we all have to go through our journey. And a lot of us have been through a lot of stuff. There's a lot of women and men who have been raped and had to do unsavory things, become part of theft rings, and um, you know, have sex just to get their rent paid, and you know, snitch on people, spy on people. There's all kinds of things that folks have been through. Um, and your journey is your journey. I'm talking about my journey. So that's just me and who I am. And I came into Islam because Allah put the desire for me to come into Islam before I actually came. And so I remember I started reading the Yusuf Ali version of the Holy Quran. And I just remember going through it and reading it. And I started leaning towards Islam before I actually was formally introduced into it. Um, and so I didn't come in because I was dating someone, or because I was married to someone, or because I was escaping, let's say, prostitution or something like that. I I don't I would say I came in because I wanted to come in, but that would be from my ego standpoint. I came in because I wanted to come in, but Allah was able to program me with a desire. Thank you, Brother Stanley. Appreciate you. Hit that super chat button. Um, Allah was able to program me with certain desires, and for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me, I followed and obeyed it. And he's been programming me and injecting things into my head. I remember for as young as 4 years old. And so things I would choose to do that maybe didn't make sense to anybody around me, I would do it because I didn't understand why, but I was just being compelled to do it. And so I'm just grateful that that's my journey. It puts a certain amount of pressure on me because I don't kind of just get to kick it and do what I want to do like a lot of people. But I'm just sharing with you what my journey is, and I don't and I'm a real stickler in that when somebody else is telling their story, you don't always have to put yourself in it. You don't always have to take their story and compare it to yours. You don't always have to say, well, what I did. You don't always have to do that. I'm a, I'm a real stickler about that. If I see something bad on TV, I'm not putting myself in that. I'm not trying to figure out what I would do, and that's that situation. Because I've lived long enough to know that Allah gonna tell me what I got to do and what my next move is, and He gonna do it. And most of the time, I'm not gonna have much of a choice because the way He's gonna put it in my brain. So I want you all to be inspired to be able to just tell your own story, not necessarily compare your story to mine or make your story like mine. Okay. All right. So in these I'm going to end a few minutes early so I can go gulp down some water and tea. I wish you all a very blessed Saturday, a blessed continuation of Ramadan. What is this, day 6? So we're rolling along and it has been smooth. Yesterday I was really sleepy though. I was really fighting, just wanting to just go back to bed up in the middle of the day. But I made it through. And I'm grateful for that as well. And so I'm grateful for each and every one of you. I thank you for your continued support. I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching, for listening to my story. And most importantly, I thank you for allowing me to be of service to you. And so with that, go out and do something beautiful for somebody today. Do something nice. Do something fun for somebody that they would not have expected. And please support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. We got a few things going across the bottom. You got the Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. You can donate there, or you can go to supportsajdahhouse.com. It'll give you other ways. You can also get a coin. And if you need to book me for a consultation or anything like that, go to booksajdahwendymuhammad.com. Peace and blessings. Ramadan Mubarak.
I look in the mirror and I see a ghost. I know I'm not holy, but I know the most. The most high guy, him, he deserve a toast. I can never brag or boast. Without him, where would I be?